Good morning and welcome to the show. This is In Touch, and In Touch is our public affairs program, which means that at the end of the show today, if you are a nonprofit group or organization here in the Hudson Valley, in Orange County, Sullivan County, you'd like to be on the show to talk about what is important to you, I'd love to have you on the program. I will give you a myriad of ways that you can get a hold of me at the end of the show today, so we'd love to have you on. So let me turn microphones on and let me say, first off, this is pre-recorded. I did not ask these two gentlemen to get up at this hour in the morning on Sunday because they wouldn't have come. So I thought that it would be good if we do it a little earlier and a little saner time. So this is pre-recorded. If there's any websites, phone numbers, anything we talk about, we'll have all that for you. So let me tell you who is here. We have Todd Tancredi. He is the director of the Office of the Aging in Dutchess County. So Todd, thank you very, very much for taking the time and being here.
It's great to be here, and I thank you for not calling us Sunday morning.
Yeah, that's right. You don't want that. So I'm with you, and me too. And Bryan Jones, who is, I have to say, is a dear friend. It was my honor to have worked with you for, we're not going to say how many years because there's really no need. But it is so great to look across a board and a microphone at you, which is just really
You're
great.
getting me all verklempt. It's just starting.
I'm just looking at him and I'm like, I remember this. I remember this.
For the record, I would get up at this hour.
I know. And you're the only one because
You did it for how many years?
yeah, at this hour, you were already like an hour and a half into your day.
Yes.
At least. I don't know how you did that.
For anybody aspiring to be in the radio business, if you start early in the morning, keep in mind that if you move on to something else, you will still get up at that ridiculous hour.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's bad.
Bryan's the most alert person at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the office.
Yeah.
For sure.
10:30. Well, you know.
You're done. So Bryan Jones is the outreach coordinator of the Office of the Aged in Dutchess County. And since, you're listening to this show on a couple of different radio stations, it was Oldies 97.7 that I got to, a long time ago that I got to work with you there. So it's great. I didn't mean to make you for clump, but it's nice that you guys are here. Before we turn the microphones on, we always have a little bit of a conversation. Who's going to take the first question? What are we going to do? What do we want to talk about? The thing that I really am excited about having the Office of the Aging here is, and I mentioned this to Bryan, is that every week there is a newsletter in my email that says what's happening and what's going on. If you have a question, here's where you can go. Here's information. And now being in the position where I'm in that sandwich generation, where we're taking care of my husband's mother as much as we can, a lot of times there's stuff that I go, oh, that's a really good thing. I didn't even know to ask that question. You feel kind of stupid for a second, but you get over that and you go, here's a resource. So Todd, I know that people, they've heard of the Office of the Aging. They certainly know what those words mean. But, kind of fill us in on the history and a mission and an overview of what that department does.
Office for the Aging is obviously part of county government. And our primary mission is to keep seniors in their homes, living independently and safely for as long as we can. Our drive is to keep them out of a nursing home or assisted living. And so what we do at the office is provide things like home care, personal care, home-delivered meals. We have 8 friendship centers, which are senior centers throughout the county. And that's a place where seniors can go and congregate and socialize and maybe take an exercise class or just engage in some way outside of their home. We have many events throughout the year that Bryan is instrumental in putting together and bringing the community together. So kind of in a nutshell, that's what we do. We have a lot of programming and services. So if there are any listeners who have a parent that might need our assistance, or if they're getting up there in age, population is aging every day, and our client base is growing and growing. So we certainly don't mind phone calls and questions, and we're there to help.
It's powerful that you say that. Go ahead, Brian.
And one other thing to mention, my phone goes off. Oh, hang on.
That's okay. He hasn't been in a studio in a long time.
Come on,
Supposed to turn these off. I didn't have these.
I missed that part. I feel like, the stewardess on the airplane.
I'm glad I
Please
didn't do
this.
that.
Please shut off all your mobile devices as we are. Okay, go ahead. I'm
Actually,
sorry.
it was my wife. But
I am not telling her that you turned that off.
boy, is she in trouble.
Okay.
At any rate, the thing we want to point out, too, is for all the people who are listening here that are not in Dutchess County, every county in the state has an office for the aging. Mm-hmm. So if you're in Ulster, you can call the one in Kingston and so forth. And we're in Dutchess. Our number is 486-2555, 845 area code. And we've got a toll-free number that is 866-486-2555. Beth is writing all this down, and we'll have this later on, too. And we have all sorts of ways for you to get in touch with us. We're online at dutchessny.gov/aging. So we have our own little section on the county website. The county website's going to be updated sometime in 2018 also. But there's tons and tons of information. And the thing we run into a lot of, especially I do because I travel to all the corners of the county, is that it's surprising how many people don't know about what the Office for the Aging offers. And I'm in the sandwich generation like you are, and I was trying to find things for my mom and my dad over the years, and I had no idea. Oh, I could have called Poughkeepsie.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And I feel like if there's anyone listening like that, there are times there is that. Well, so this is the part. It's so early that I'm asking 3 questions at once. I told you guys it was 13 minutes in, and it's only 6. There's that moment in your life when you realize that, you know what, I'm now in the position where I need to take care of the people that took care of me.
Yes.
And it's a privilege to be able to do that. And it's a promise, I think, that you make to your family that you do that. But it's scary at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how Medicare and Medicaid works. I don't know if there's personal care, what's available for that. I don't know what it means for home care. How does that? Yes, and everything hits you at once.
And that for those that maybe are thinking that and feel that way, the message is that you're not the only one who has felt that way or thinks that way, and you're not alone. So we are really an arm of county government that's there to help assist, to help provide information and assistance to caregivers, which is what you're talking about. If you've got an elderly parent you're working with or grandparent, you're basically now you've fallen into this term we call you're a caregiver. And sometimes that happens slowly and people know it's coming, but other times it can happen very quickly. And one day you're not a caregiver and the next day you are. Right. So if there are those in those situations, we're certainly willing to listen, to talk. If there's something we can help them with or assistance we can provide, we will. And sometimes it's another organization that's out there that the client or the individuals may not be aware of. So we can certainly, provide direction like that.
And speaking of that, coming up November 17th is an event that's being organized by the Alzheimer's Association. It's the Caregivers Conference. And that's Friday is the 17th, by the way, of November. And it's an all-day event pretty much. And it's going to be at the Grandview in Poughkeepsie on the river on Rinaldi Boulevard.
Oh, okay.
So we have the contact information for the Alzheimer's Association. They're the ones arranging everything and taking care of the reservations. We will be there, and dozens of other providers also will be there. So if you're thinking you're alone, you won't be, because there will be hundreds of caregivers at this conference as well, and a lot of people with specific expertise.
That's a thing that you need, because and like you said, we're not the only ones, but there's all these things that come in. Like I love, Todd, how you said that, with the Office of the Aging, the aim is to keep seniors in their home for as long as possible, to have them be safe and taken care of. And then, all of a sudden you feel woefully unprepared for that. There's financial things, whether they rent or own the home, what happens with that? As I mentioned, Medicare, Medicaid,
Yes.
There are some folks, and even if you're not a caregiver, and you're listening, maybe you need a little bit of help Maybe you need a little bit of help one day a week. Maybe you need a couple.
That's exactly right.
This is the place to call.
That's exactly right. It can be one day a week. It can be a few hours a week, one day a week. And the other thing I'd add, hopefully there's those that are listening that may think to themselves, well, that's great. I'm glad they're there. I wish I could help. I'm not in that situation right now. You know what? We use a lot of volunteers in all of our programs. And Bryan, part of his mission is to get the word out and to educate throughout the county and tell others about our programs and services. But one of the things he also does is seeks volunteers, because we use hundreds of volunteers throughout our programs. So if there's those out there that would, are interested and think this would be a great organization to be involved with, we'd love to hear from you.
And we figured out that volunteers in Dutchess County save the county about $100 million a year.
Wow.
For all
Holy
the work
smokes.
they do, whether that's within the Office for the Aging or with any of the other civic groups that are out there in the county. And if you know what your tax bill is like now, imagine if you had to stack another $100 million on top of it.
Right.
And that's one of the many things. If you just want to strictly look at it bottom line, that's one of the many things the volunteers do for the whole community. They're not just helping seniors specifically. They're helping everybody, because I don't think we'd even be able to, if we had to pay everybody, I don't think we'd be able to find them first of all. And there's just too much to do, and the government needs these volunteers at all levels. Yeah. Some towns around the county have senior centers, and we have ours as well at the Office for the Aging. Like Todd said before, we have 8 friendship centers. Yeah. There's one in the city of Poughkeepsie, and there's one called Tri-Town that serves the town of Poughkeepsie, LaGrange, and Pleasant Valley.
Oh, okay.
There's one in Rhinebeck. It's at the far eastern end of Rhinebeck, out in Rock City, near where the towns of Rhinebeck, Red Hook, and Milan meet. Yeah. The fork in the road at 308 and 199, that one. We take care of a lot of the rural seniors as well, because transportation, as you can imagine, is a beast. If you're a senior living someplace like Millerton, well, we have a friendship center there. We have one in South Amenia also. One in Pauling. We have, I'm missing
East
Beacon.
Fishkill.
East Fishkill and Beacon. Yeah.
Wow. Now, one thing also that I noticed, and I love, because I've noticed on Facebook, is there's picnics that happen every summer.
Every summer, yeah.
Look, I know that a picnic is not as important as home care and personal care, and I'm not trying to change that.
It's important.
But
Seniors
my
love
mother-in-law loved going to those, and it was fun.
She wasn't alone.
And she had it, and you have to have volunteers for that.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to. Like, I don't know how on God's green earth you would get that done, because you have them in all the. Do you have them at all the friendship centers, or all the?
We have them outdoors.
Okay.
There were 12 of them this past summer. We serve at some point or another. We're going to go serve a resident of every community in the county. But again, for the rural parts of Dutchess County, where the population is lower, we kind of combine towns and things like that. So, for instance, if we're doing a picnic we do a picnic for residents of Red Hook, Rhinebeck, and Milan, and it's in Tivoli for that kind of thing. And we get about 300 to 500 people at each picnic. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be something that if you're a registered voter in Dutchess County, age 60 or up, you'll get an invite from us in the spring, sometime late March, April, May. Okay. And this will come to you. And so we're sending out about 60,000 of these things, because that's how many registered voters, seniors there are in Dutchess County. So think about that just right off the bat, that the population of seniors, just the ones who are registered to vote, is 60,000. And that's a good 1/5 of the county's population right there. Mm-hmm. So at any rate, they get those invites and they give us a call back, say, yeah, I'd love to come. So we take care of them. We get them the food. Mm-hmm. They've got the companionship there. We have music from Bob
I've heard
Martinson.
the reviews. I've heard the reviews of these picnics from firsthand. So they're stellar.
They're extremely popular. Seniors love them. We love to see all of our friends throughout the county during the summer months, and it's just a very good time. It's a lot of work for us, as you said, getting back to the volunteers. You know, like Bryan said, the senior will call in and register for the picnic. And I'd encourage the seniors who are listening, if they register next year, when they call in early, because there is a max to the numbers we can fit in some of these locations. So there are times when we have to create a waiting list, and they may not be able to attend, just because, like I said, that there's just, when you have 400 seniors, you've got, that many cars, and some of the parks just can't hold more than that. But so call early. So they'll call in, they'll register, and we will call them back a few days prior to the picnic to remind them that it's occurring and make sure they're still coming and give them some instructions in terms of what identification to bring. So it's a process on our part, but, the county executive has always really pushed the effort of the interaction with the seniors. He wants us to be with the seniors on a, monthly basis during the summer months, and it's just a great opportunity. So,
and if you go, you get a chance to, if you've had a question that for your local elected officials, they'll be there, and almost always the county executive is there as well. The state senator for most of Dutchess County, Sue Serino's there, and right now she chairs the Senate's Aging Committee, so she's there. She sends people along to help out at the picnic as well. But if you had a beef, if you had a question, a lot of your county legislators will be there as well. This is the time to catch up to them. It's not like the guys in Washington. They can't hide.
These guys are right there.
They know the seniors are there, and they know the seniors are engaged, and they know the seniors vote, so they show up and they listen.
And that's a very smart thing, because I think sometimes there's a feeling of isolation. If you are someone who is older, and Brian, you mentioned, transportation can be an issue. So let me ask you this question. Now, here could be a stupid question. Here's my flag.
No stupid question.
My specialty.
And that's my specialty of asking them. So we're good. What if there is a senior listening this morning who is like, wow, the friendship centers, that's really, really cool, but transportation is an issue. How does that work? Is there a help? Is there something that can be done, or do they need to find? How does that work with the friendship centers?
First thing you do is come Monday morning, you give us a call. We're open 9 to 5. Phone number, once again, is 845-486-2555. And again, if you're outside of Dutchess, every county has an office for the aging, and we know their numbers too. So you give us a call, and the best thing, first of all, you get a human on the phone, which doesn't always happen when you're dealing with government.
Right.
So you get that, and we point you to the people who know the answers. Todd and I don't necessarily know all the answers ourselves, but boy, do we have a lot of people who do know the answers.
So that's what they need to do, is to find out, and they can get information. Because to me, the idea of a friendship center, when you think of someone who is isolated, and family is working, I mean, even in our case, my husband and I both have a full-time job, so there's chunks of time during the day where there may not be anybody around. And then what do you do? And I seem to remember one place that I lived, the woman who lived downstairs would go to one of the friendship centers. And the only reason she told me one time, but she also asked me to sew part of her costume for her. There was a special theme luncheon. I think it was a Hawaiian luncheon or something.
Yeah, luau.
Yep.
Yes, and she asked me to mend her, I don't know if it was a Hawaiian shirt or dress, but anyway, she asked me to mend it because she was going to go, and she was all excited, and she loved it. She just absolutely loved it. So that was my only experience. I sewed somebody's dress.
So we
Brian's
have
just
we have those theme parties year round. There's a USA party. Some of them senior centers have pajama parties. Some of them have
country western.
St. Patrick's Day. I'm missing some themes, but there's always seems to be something going on.
Seniors like the party. That's the message here.
That's it.
They love a party.
They've worked long and hard, and they deserve to have some
now
fun.
they've retired, and they're trying to figure out what's the new pattern for their life. So, what do they do when the alarm goes off in the morning, or if they don't even bother setting alarm anymore? Now what do I do? Well, they can volunteer. They can go to our senior centers, and so on and so forth. You get you learn yourself a new routine. And the trick is, it's like Morgan Freeman said back in the Shawshank Redemption: you get busy living or get busy dying, because you isolate yourself, and that can really have some terrible knock-on health effects. You find people with too much time on their hands; they start taking up habits like hoarding or drinking or gambling. And it's all a function of not having something to do and not having something meaningful to do.
So the first thing is to call Office of the Aging.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether isolation is your issue, or even let's talk maybe a little bit more about home care and personal care. If someone should call and want to know information about those.
Absolutely. If
services.
There's a senior who thinks they may need some help in the home, and there's nothing wrong with needing some assistance. That's the first message.
Right.
There are many seniors in their homes today that just need a few hours, as you said, a few hours a day or a few hours a week of some assistance in the home. So they should certainly call. Our people, as Bryan said, are trained to know what questions to ask, know where to direct them. We have some real pros in our office that can ask the right questions and give the answers that I think are helpful. But I would encourage any senior that's even just thinking about it, call and get the information. Let's see what is available, and then if they decide to move forward with it, great. If they decide against it, they have a right to do that too. But at least call to get the information. And to get back to the senior centers, if there is a senior that doesn't have transportation, we do provide some busing throughout the county to some of these seniors. So it may depend on where they live and location to the center, but they should call and inquire about that.
Let me ask you this question. If someone is listening and maybe they're in the position that my husband and I were, where it was like all of a sudden we realized that we were in, she was in the hospital and we're now in this situation. Questions about Medicare, Medicaid, maybe even legal questions. Or is the Office of the Aging a good place to start with that?
We're doing that now, and I would say something. This is one where, yes, get on the phone with us quickly because we've been taking appointments since late September for something called the acronym is HICAP, HIICAP. It's an health insurance information and counseling assistance program. I think that's how the acronym goes. Okay. But the thing is, we have our counselors that are getting very seriously booked, and as of here, mid-October, they were starting to book into late November already, and the Medicare open enrollment period every year runs from the 15th of October through the 7th of December. So before you know it, we're not going to have space available, at least not at our offices. We do a lot of classes for Medicare on the road. We do some sessions once a month at the Poughkeepsie Galleria in the community room. And we have others at the Adrian's Library in Poughkeepsie. And we do a lot of one-off Medicare and Medicaid events at various libraries around the region. I know we have one on the 11th of November in Pauling at the library down there. But the calendar's always changing. The calendar's on the county website also. And once again, that's dutchessny.gov/aging.
And if you're listening to this show, as I mentioned at the beginning, on whatever radio station, all you have to do is go to their website. On the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a little magnifying glass, the universal symbol for search, and just put in touch, and this show will come up. And it's an on-demand feature. And what I'll do is I'll link to the calendar. There'll be a couple of sentences and then the whole interview, but I will link to that. So that's very powerful because you're not kidding. If it's begun and only going to December 7th, and every year there's changes, and there may be changes in your life, changes in your situation, changes in the regulations, then what does that mean? And it get look, I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I'm
You
not,
might be.
I don't know. I doubt that. But I'm not the dumb. But I get so intimidated by
it's
this.
tough.
And because and I think also there's the pressure because you are making decisions for someone else, or they're counting on you to do the research. Like, it's like if I make a decision for me and I mess up, then it's me. And then I'll deal with it and I'll figure it out. But I don't, like, there's an added pressure that you want to make sure you get it right for someone else. I mean, look, I don't want to.
I know what you're saying.
But you know
our
what I mean? Like, I need help.
Yeah, the counselors are good at that.
Help.
It's just that there's only so many hours in the day for them. A lot of them are retired from the county or they're retired from the insurance business. And I sat through one of their training sessions, and I was lost inside of 15 seconds.
Then I'm in trouble.
Well, but these counselors knew exactly what was going down, and they can help people find their way through Medicare. It may be just they need a little help navigating the Medicare website. We have classes for that as well. And some of the sessions are also, I forgot to mention it earlier, where they're at the Center for Healthy Aging in Rhinebeck, which is right next to Northern Dutchess Hospital there on Route 9.
Okay. Same thing with legal. Like if anybody has...
Yes, we have legal services available. We have an attorney who comes to the office every Friday.
Wow.
To provide, legal services in the sense that, the easier... simple wills and estates, not anything very complicated. But if a senior's interested, they should certainly call the office. He is as well very busy as you can imagine, but they should call and inquire. But he's there every Friday.
He actually helped my husband and I. He was an amazing resource just to be able to say, we don't know, here's a box of papers.
Yeah.
And we're not sure. And I remember sitting one night for almost 6 hours trying to put organized papers and keep things with account numbers and whatever and what have you. And he was a really great resource because he could look at it and say, okay, you might want to go here for this, here's this, here's that. But like you said, it's not, it's an amazing place to start, to get some guidance and to get some peace of mind and to know what you need to delve a little deeper in and what is pretty straightforward.
He's an expert on elder law.
Yeah.
And, again, I hate to be repetitive, but I'm going to repeat myself. And the key is, as you just said, if you have a question, chances are someone else has come in with the same question. Right. So nobody, should feel like, oh, I should know this. I can't ask that question.
Right.
Please ask.
Right.
That's what we're there for.
Right. That's brilliant. Okay, believe it or not, we are at 26 minutes, and I said it like we got 20.
Go on, really?
I know. See, it goes really fast. So you guys have to come back because there's an awful lot here.
Deal.
One thing before we go, another event
Perfect.
coming up November 2nd. That's a Thursday. It's called the Senior Seminars, and it's going to be taking place at New Hackensack Reformed Church on 376 by the airport in Wappingers Falls. That's one where you got to sign up in advance. You can just call us to do that, and we've got information about that in our quarterly newsletter, which is called The Spotlight on Seniors. That's available on our website as well. If you're somebody who just deals in regular postal, we can mail them out to you that way, too. We've got some spares left over. There's always information at these seminars. It's a session of 9 or 10 different speakers. So if you're looking for somebody on scam prevention, if you're looking for questions about housing, I don't recall the full list of speakers there, but they're always very interesting. There's going to be a couple of fellows from the Traffic Safety Board talking about when to take away the keys and when it's still fine. That's because you don't want to give up driving because that's independence, especially in a place like Dutchess County.
Right, exactly. In terms of the newsletter, which we talked about, which I love getting, how can they sign up for that? Is that something email they can get,
Give
or
us a
how
call.
do they do all that?
They can email straight to me, bjones@dutchessny.gov.
At Dutchess, and I'll have this. I'm writing it down. I'm saying it out loud. I don't know why, but making sure that I get it right. But we'll have that.
And you don't have to be a Dutchess resident to get the newsletter.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I'm not picky.
Well, I will say that I have a couple of times been able to tell my husband, who also, by the way, works for the county in a different department, but I've been able to say to him, "Hey, did you know?" And sometimes he'd be like, "Yep, on it," and sometimes he'd be like, "Hang on, let me look that up. Let me get some more information on that." So not only have I used those emails in the newsletter to write some posts on our website about some of these things. In fact, I'm going to make sure I have something on the senior seminars and some of the specific events that you've talked about today so that I can get those out.
Anything we didn't get to today, I'll get to you a little bit later, Beth, and so you'll have it up on any station's website.
That's brilliant. So, yeah, okay, we have to wrap up. I have to stop talking. So, Todd, closing comments from you this morning.
I just want to thank you for having us. I'm lucky to be doing what I'm doing. We're here to help the seniors throughout Dutchess County. So I love to meet you. I love to speak with you. So if you have something you want to say or a question, please call our office, and we'd be glad to help.
Very cool. And Mr. Jones, final comments and thoughts this morning.
Oh, boy. Hey, well, look at the time.
Come on. I know you have them. I know you do.
Well just, again, ask the question of any local office for the aging. If you're hearing us now and you heard the phone number and am I in the right county? Don't worry about it. Call us. We'll point you in the right direction.
That's powerful. Todd and Bryan, thank you guys very, very much. I hope that I didn't scare you away and that you will be back.
We will be back.
Because there's an awful lot that's going on, and I think it's so powerful. And Todd, as you said it almost at the beginning, the population is aging. And you really need to be informed, and you can get yourself informed, and maybe you can save yourself the mini panic attack that we had in our house if you can kind of be like, oh, okay, these are some things I need to know. So
we can help. We'd love to do it.
Thank you guys very, very much. And thanks to all of you. If you'd like to be on the show to talk about what is important to you, here's how you can do that. You can call me, 845-471-1500. Email beth.christie@townsquaremedia.com. You can find me on social media. Trust me, I am there. I'm probably there too much. I'm on Twitter and Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook and all those things. So take care of yourself and those you love, and we'll see you right here next week.